Imagine a world where humanity awakens to its full potential, where the shackles of outdated beliefs and limiting perceptions are shattered, paving the way for a profound expansion of consciousness. This is the promise of the Age of Aquarius, an astrological shift that ancient traditions have foretold for millennia. We are transitioning into this new era, marked by heightened awareness, spiritual enlightenment, and extraordinary technological innovations. However, the Age of Aquarius is more than just an astrological alignment. It's a tangible experience that is unfolding right before our very eyes. A great awakening is sweeping across the globe, and it is igniting the hearts and minds of individuals from all walks of life. Like a tidal wave of consciousness, this awakening is disrupting outdated belief systems. It's challenging archaic institutions, and it's also dismantling the very foundations upon which our perceived limitations were built. The digital age has ushered in unprecedented tools and innovations that are not only catalyzing this awakening, but also providing new avenues for exploring the depths of our consciousness in the vast expanse of the universe itself. This is our clarion call, an invitation to awaken to the truth of who we are and the infinite potential that lies within each and every one of us. The time is now, and the Great Awakening has already begun. So let's dive into something that has really been on my mind lately. The crazy dual nature of technology when it comes to this whole Great Awakening narrative. On one side of the coin, we have tools that are straight up magical for raising our consciousness. We have unlimited access to mind-expanding teachings, ancient wisdom texts, communities dedicated to growth and healing. It's like we have a whole universe of awakening just a few taps away on our devices. But then there's this other side that's frankly kind of disturbing. The internet can be a cesspool of misinformation, hate, scams, and some seriously dark corners that will have you questioning humanity. Things like troll farms, conspiracy theory black holes, and the wild west of the dark web where all sorts of shady stuff goes on. It's almost like technology is this insanely powerful force that's accelerating a mass awakening on one level, while also providing avenues for people to stray into a deeper sleep of unconsciousness, delusion, and even criminal behavior. So how do we as conscious beings try to level up and negate this seeming paradox? Well, we really have to embrace the dual nature. The pitfalls and the shadow sides of tech are very real, but they don't negate the vast positive potential these tools have for individual and collective awakening. It's on us to utilize the amazing growth resources we have available responsibly and mindfully, while actively shunning the garbage. It's up to us to cultivate discernment and to stay woke to manipulation and fear-mongering. We need to create and participate in uplifting online communities while avoid getting sucked into the toxic vortexes of negativity. At the end of the day, technology is just a really powerful instrument. And like any tool, it can be used to build or to destroy, to uplift or to degrade. But the choice is ours as conscious creators. But it's also important to realize that a true awakening that's really worthy of its name will never be able to happen if we do not shine light onto the uglier aspects of this world and human nature. Part of awakening is opening our eyes and expanding our perception to what's really going on, both internally and externally. It's about becoming aware of the harsh realities, the injustices, the darkness around us that has been conveniently swept under the rug. And in a sense, while the exposing of the internet's dark side can be disturbing, it's really also an integral part of the awakening process. How is it possible for us to transcend the lower vibrations if we are not conscious of them? The rise of the dark web, exploitation, hatred, and misinformation online essentially holds a mirror up to the collective psyche, reflecting back our greed, our delusions, and our capacity for cruelty when we get wrapped up in the ego mind. As confronting as it is, seeing those shadows played out across the digital landscape is a crucial step in our awakening. Because once we integrate and own that side of our human experience, we can then make the choice to cultivate more light. Without this bare exposure of the ugly ugly truths, any awakening would essentially be hollow, just a spiritual bypass, avoiding the hard work of true transformation. It's a bitter pill to swallow, but a necessary one if we want to emerge as fully integrated, awakened beings. When it comes to technology's role in catalyzing the Great Awakening, one of the most profound gifts it offers is the democratization of wisdom itself. Think about it. For centuries, the deepest teachings, the most profound philosophies, and the kind of sacred knowledge that sparks awakenings was guarded like dragon-level treasure. Accessing the work of mystics, enlightened masters, or even decent personal growth material was largely a privilege reserved for the elite and well-connected. But in today's digital age, that whole game has been blown wide open in the most beautifully disruptive way. Now, anyone with a smartphone or internet connection can instantly tap into the vast ocean of mind-expanding teachings and growth resources from across the world and spanning across all cultures and traditions. Powerful ancient wisdom, esoteric practices, cutting-edge modalities for healing and self-development, it's all just a Google search away these days. And what's happening as a result of this free-flowing access is nothing short of a renaissance of awakening consciousness. People from all walks of life are being exposed to transcendent perspectives and tools for inner exploration that were unimaginable just a few generations ago. Thanks to the internet's vast archives of teachings, rituals, and growth resources just waiting to be accessed and integrated, everyday people are essentially activating their own heroic journey of awakening in ways never before possible. There's a consciousness revolution taking place, an emergence of inspired self-starters fueling their spiritual evolution using technology as the key. Where once such life-changing knowledge was so incredibly rare, now it's being dispersed like rays of sunlight emerging from behind the clouds. When it comes to catalyzing the Great Awakening, one of technology's most profound impacts has been its ability to obliterate the boundaries and borders that once separated the world's cultures and wisdom traditions. For most of human history, the transmission of philosophies, beliefs, and perspectives was heavily constricted by the limitations of geography. But can you imagine how transformative it would have been if the Buddha and the Christ could have engaged in a real-time dialogue and explored the depths of their spiritual understandings together? Or if an indigenous Amazon tribe's ancestral knowledge was live-streamed for millions to see? These diverse streams of profound awakening remained largely isolated until now. With just a few taps on a smartphone, any hungry seeker can dive into the raw, unfiltered perspectives of wisdom keepers from all ages and cultures. This profound convergence is disrupting the very notions of there being one singular truth or path to awakening. The boundaries between teachers and traditions dissolve as we viscerally recognize that all paths are leading to that same infinite source. What was once so fragmented is now swirling together into a transformative synthesis we are all co-creating with each shared insight, exchanged perspective, and digital connection made. Another beautifully disruptive way that technology is accelerating the Great Awakening is through the rise of virtual communities dedicated to conscious growth, integral support systems, and the sharing of transformative experiences. Think about it. For most of human history, the journey of spiritual and personal evolution was largely a solo undertaking. It was at best supported to whatever small circle of peers or mentors one had access to. Venturing too far outside the conventional frameworks basically meant walking an immensely lonely path. But that is not the case anymore. In today's digital age, the awakening journey has been blown open in the most empowering way. No longer are conscious explorers isolated in their heroic quest for a more awakened existence. Thanks to the internet's web of connection, online hubs and forums are emerging as virtual campfires where mundane realities and the confines of the separate self fall away as awakened beings converge to do the real work together. These nourishing digital circles offer spaces for deep truth sharings, accounts of non-ordinary experience, and the transmission of embodied practices into bleeding-edge modalities. For so many on the path to spirituality, these virtual communities are providing crucial guidance, up-leveling teachings, emotional spiritual support systems, and opportunities for accelerated growth that simply didn't exist in easily accessible ways before the rise of these technologies. And the impacts of these communal virtual ashrams extend far beyond just individual transformation. They're essentially becoming fueling stations for the awakening of our collective human consciousness as well. When it comes to the great technology levers catalyzing our awakening, some of the most mind-blowing potentials on the horizon involve cutting-edge innovations like virtual reality, augmented reality, and artificial intelligence. These aren't just the next evolution of immersive video games or cool navigation apps. We're talking about technologies that have the very real capacity to stimulate and map the depths of consciousness itself in unprecedented ways. So just let that idea marinate for a moment. Tools that can essentially hack into the operating system that is underlying all of reality. Philosophers' wildest speculations about the nature of consciousness made explorable through a computer to us. The very fabric of the mind manifested into visualizations in front of you. With virtual reality, we're already seeing the birthing contractions of technologies that can induce profound out-of-body experiences, generate non-ordinary states of awareness, and provide guided mind-expanding journeys into transcended or interdimensional realms of perception. We now have the potential to craft finely tuned consciousness activations that initiate awakening journeys on demand in incredibly immersive ways. Someone could strap on a headset, fire up a VR program, and be seamlessly guided through a simulated metaphysical awakening that shakes them free from their conditioned perspective of reality. Cutting-edge consciousness research laboratories are using artificial intelligence and brain mapping technologies to essentially create three-dimensional modeling of awakened mind states. They're studying the neurological terrain of non-dual awareness, intuitive experience, and psychedelic experiences. Just imagine using an AI that stimulates and visualizes the fabric of awareness unfolding in real time as your neurons fire during a Kundalini awakening experience. These are not just musings of some fringe futurist. Innovators and research labs across multiple industries are quite literally in the midst of coding awakened new dimensions of human perception into existence through the powerful frameworks of virtual simulations, artificial intelligence modeling, and technologically activated expansions of consciousness. So there's all these wonderful and beautiful things that are fueling our awakening. But what is the dark side that we need to address and look at? For all the incredible ways that technology can expand our consciousness, it also has some serious pitfalls that can disrupt our awakening if we're not careful. It's a slippery slope, using tech as a tool to grow your own awareness, to becoming utterly enslaved by its addictive lures, as well as the constant distractions. These devices can pull you into a waking trance of disconnection from your true self, from others, and the present moment. It starts innocently enough. We hop online to research a spiritual topic or to join an uplifting community. But then the endless feeds, notification pings, and clicking trails suck us into a mindless scroll hole of consumption and stimulation for hours on end without realizing it. And then bam, our sacred life force energy has been vampirically drained by the very tools meant to enlighten us. Over time, this digital overload disconnects us from the embodied experience of being human. We become so accustomed to the virtual flood of information that we forget how to live with presence, to attune to our senses, to embrace the richness surrounding us. Our consciousness fragments across countless feeds and streams, while our roots struggle to stay grounded. The awakening journey is about realizing our deepest interconnection within our being, within the earth, with one another. But obsessive tech use rewires us in opposition to that, fostering alienation, anxious distraction, and a diminishing capacity for the very stillness required to go inward. We become addict avatars, soullessly chasing empty likes and accomplishment porn for a dopamine drip feed, all while our souls longing for genuine embodied awakening gasps for air under the weight of our psychic abandonment. So don't get me wrong, I'm not saying that technology is some evil usher-in of the apocalypse here. These tools remain potent portals for good and evolution, and we really need to utilize them with wisdom, but we have to be awake to the risks they present as well. Unbalanced usage quite literally lulls all consciousness into a trance of inertia that obstructs any sort of transcendence. We lose conscious sovereignty over our most precious resource, our fundamental field of attentional energy and present awareness. And in so doing, we invite mass somnambulance rather than awakening. The path is to develop a healthy, boundaried relationship with these technologies as we awaken, to be their co-creative masters rather than unconscious addicts fragmented across endless pings and feeds, chasing gratification at the cost of dismembering our integrated selfhood. Because what good are these exceptional tools for awakening if they wind up siphoning the very capacities required to actually utilize their gifts with intentionality and presence? We'd be missing the whole point. When it comes to technology's dark underbelly and the risk it poses to our awakening, one of the most insidious pitfalls we have to navigate is the rampant spread of misinformation, hate speech, conspiracy theories, and outright criminal exploitation happening online. The internet has become a wild west where dangerously leading ideologies and toxic narratives can proliferate at viral speeds with little to no accountability. It's a cesspool of deception, an us versus them tribalism, and bad faith actors looking to gaslight entire populations for profits or nefarious agendas. On one corner of the web, you've got state-backed disinformation campaigns systematically churning out propaganda dressed up as truth to erode social fabrics. With just a few clicks, you can stumble into an entire cinematic universe worth of QAnon rabbit holes claiming to reveal reality's secret codes. Elsewhere, extremist echo chambers cultivate violent rage by dehumanizing entire groups as subhuman enemies. It's a monster of delusion and animosity that our awakening efforts have to directly contend with. Because whether we're aware of it or not, we're all swimming in these waters constantly. This misinformation contagion has so permeated the digital airwaves that it leaks into our peripheries and attempts to gaslight our sense of reality at every turn, pitch themselves in the luring language of awakening and truth, making them all the more insidious to those earnestly seeking genuine liberation. It can be a mind twist to discern what's real from what's an insidious detour baited with shiny rhetorical objects. So we simply must develop our critical faculties to an incredibly high degree to avoid falling for the mass-generated illusions and intentional deceit designed to keep us trapped in fear, separation, and distrusting our own common sense. It requires us to cultivate an unshakable mooring in our discernment skills and healthy skepticism towards any grandiose claims carelessly lobbed our way, because that's ultimately what the disinformation industrial complex preys upon. Our hunger for certainty and narratives that provide simplistic relief from the burden of personal inquiry and doing our own work. So we need to lead towards the discernment and do the hard work of extricating what's true from the chaff. We must embrace frameworks and practices that sharpen our critical thinking resources while cultivating boundless compassion. We must nurture learning ecosystems that uplift rather than divide, and take the philosophical high road to illuminate rather than retaliate against the shadow projections. Because at the end of the day, the mass hallucinations of misinformation and dehumanization online will wither under the rising tide of our integrated consciousness. Truth and dignity will transcend these demonic filter bubbles as we loosen their grip through intentional and ethical evolution. It's an awakening trial by fire that we can graduate from, but only if we stay rooted in discernment and open-hearted inquiry. Another topic related to technology that I need to address here is the dark web. The dark web is definitely one of the more shadowy and disturbing things that we have to acknowledge and become aware of in our path to this awakening process. So I'm not going to go into too much detail here, but we'd really be burying our heads in the sand if we didn't admit that the underbelly of the internet has opened up an entire hidden universe of criminality, exploitation, and the darkest elements of the human psyche being manifested in virtual form. It's a wild west of moral depravity enabled by technology's double-edged sword of providing cloaked anonymity and unregulated spaces. And make no mistake, confronting the inhumanity present in these underground realms challenges our spiritual fortitude in facing the shadows. We can't allow the existence of the dark web's utter abyss to eclipse the phenomenal transformative potentials these very same technologies harbor for our awakening as a species. The shadowy undercurrent has always existed throughout history. Technology has just made it visible in unsettling new ways. So we can't allow the dark web's black hole to suck our focus away from technology's radiant possibility as an awakening force. We must acknowledge the pain and work to mitigate the worst abuses through activism and ethical governance. At the end of the day, those darkest expressions of criminality and exploitation are the outcrop of the very disconnected consciousness awakening is aimed at healing and evolving beyond. It's a shadow to be understood and integrated, not a boogeyman to be defeated through shunning. Because whether it manifests virtually or in real life, the path of awakening means shining light into all shadows, even the ones we prefer to pretend don't exist. It is the path of inner work and self-inquiry and responsibility for all that we are as a species. So I encourage you to lean into this catalyzing symbiosis of technology and awakening, but to do so with skillful discernment and open-eyed responsibility. Treat these tools as sacred portals into vaster dimensions of being, using them to continually spark growth, dissolve limiting identities, and illuminate your highest path of service. At the same time, remain uncompromisingly boundaried when it comes to the pitfalls of addiction, misinformation, or any exploitative darkness enabled by careless digital conduct. Safeguard your sovereignty as a conscious co-creator shaping our collective journey. Make no mistake, this great awakening is already gathering unstoppable momentum, and our wise engagement with technology stands to uplift this trajectory. As you've witnessed and as you've seen around you, the renaissance of connectedness and awareness is blossoming all around us, and even more and more so each year. So I invite you to share in this dialogue. Leave a comment in this video. What resonates with your own experience of technology's role in catalyzing awakening? Where have you encountered profound potentials or insidious pitfalls? And what is your vision for how we can most skillfully harness these innovations? How can we use it to continue the expansion of our collective consciousness? The path forward is being woven in real time by pioneers like you and myself. People who are embracing both the light and taking the responsibility for the shadow work. So stay curious. Bring your unique genius to the mix. And enter this stream with your highest intention. The Great Awakening needs all of our voices, linked in harmonious resonance to fully blossom. Thank you so much for watching this video. If you enjoyed it, please give it a thumbs up and don't forget to subscribe to my channel if you have not already. Check out the links in the description to this video to see my website and social media if you would like to see what I'm up to and to connect with me. Thank you so much for watching. Goodbye.